Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today it is hay raking day. So we're going to finally get to try out our Enorossi Caddy 8 V-Rake. But first we got a couple things that we got to do to get it ready, which one was hook it up to the tractor, which was super easy and super fast compared to what I'm used to doing with trying to hook up that 3-point hitch rake that I used to use. So all we had to do is back up to our rake, drop our pin down through the hitch, and then lift up the jack, and then plug in our 2 hydraulic lines. It's as simple as that, hooking it up. But then we've got to get it ready to drop the arms down. I've actually pulled the hydraulics in just a little bit. So there's a chain right here in the middle, and I've just got to unhook this chain. Now you could re-secure this chain back up to the machine, but I don't want it just flopping and banging around, so I'm just going to drop it in my toolbox on my tractor. I'm really hoping that this is going to speed up our hay raking time. So in the past, it has taken me about 4.5 to 5 hours to rake the entire 12 acres. So leave in the comments below what you think it'll take to do it with this V-Rake. So pretty much all we have to do now is drop our arms down, and I'm going to make one pass with it just to get an idea of where my windrows are at and how wide they are, because I don't want to get them too wide to where that, you know, it's too wide for the baler. And also, the wider your stance is on your V-Rake, the narrower it is at the back side. So the opening end where you're collecting the hay, at its widest setting will make the back end where the hay comes out at its narrowest setting. So that'll also make your windrows really big and kind of thick and tall that way. So I just want to make sure that there's a good balance between the width of the windrow and the heaviness of the windrow. So anyways, let's drop these arms down. Let's make a pass down through the field, see where we're at, and get started on this. So one more thing we got to do is remember to pull our pins out down here so that these arms will free float, so that they're not locked down to the ground, and that way, you know, everything will move and they put the correct pressure and all that kind of stuff on the ground. So every day you learn something new, but I did find out that if you lower these arms but don't touch the ground with them, these little latches right here will come loose a whole lot easier. So I was thinking you had to set it down on the ground first, but that's not at all. Pick it up off the ground just a little bit, and that'll relieve the stress on these latches so that you can just slide them right back and pop them in. I'll know for next time. So let's get raking and see what's going on. So I definitely know I'm going to have to adjust them in a little bit because the windrow won't come together and it's just leaving 2 windrows. So I definitely need to get this back end a little bit tighter together. Well, I can definitely say that there's a learning curve with this. One, my old rake, I never had a problem with it ever getting too much hay in it. So it would never stop up because it was one-sided and it was basically an endless or an infinite width that it could roll out the hay. So this one, if you get the windrows too tight, they stop up and all the hay can't come out of the middle of the machine. So I had to widen it wider than what I really want my windrows to be, where the hay is so thick right now. That's really the only choice I had. The biggest issue I'm having is that the adjustment, one side is actually angled in a little bit more than the other, because if you angle both sides out that far, then the windrow is so wide, I don't know for sure if my baler would pick it up. Plus, it kind of leaves that two trails down through there looking windrow. You know, it's got two high sides and a spot in the middle where that kicker does hit it, but it still leaves that low spot in the middle and then high on each side. So I'm trying to not have that and just have a good windrow right down the middle. I think the second, third cut, then I can definitely angle that in that one notch and get the perfect windrow that I'm looking for, because it was doing really good in some of the light spots. But then, like I say, that plugs it up when you get into real heavy spots. So then you have to open it back up to be able to get it through. I can't believe how fast this actually is raking though. So it's kind of making up for some of the time that I'm spending, you know, trying to figure this thing out. I have raked all but this one section over here on this side in about 40 minutes. And that's with me getting off and making adjustments and all that kind of stuff and experimenting with it. So I'm pretty sure that this thing is going to be awesome. And as soon as I kind of figure out, you know, the ways to rake, the best ways to do it, plus it's a little tight quarters and stuff down here in this end and trying to make turns in between these fence lines and stuff, that kind of packs everything in there a little tight. So I'm missing stuff here and there, but you know, I'm getting it raked. So I think that the more I use this, then the better it'll be. So I'm gonna go out here, do this little section out here, and then I've got the far end out there that's got the last 7 acres. And then at the end of the video, stick around because I'm gonna tell you a few things that I'm a little dissatisfied with this rake. we just got finished up raking, and I am very pleased with the outcome of the raking. Normally, like I was saying before, it takes me about 4.5, maybe 5 hours to rake our entire 12 acres with that regular one-sided wheel rake or 3-point hitch rake. But with this Caddy 8 V-Rake, I done the entire field in right at 2 hours. But that was including flying my drone and setting all that kind of stuff up. I started on it at 3:30 and it's now 5:30. I am very pleased with the production that this rake has made, or the increase in production that this rake has made. A couple things that I would like to improve or like to have seen improved just from using it this one time. One, my experience, I'm just gonna have to get better at using it for one. Two, the windrows, the hay is just way thick. I mean, it is crazy insane, the thickness of those windrows out there. I can't even believe that there's that much hay in there. Because all the times that I've done it before, the windrows have been nowhere even close to the size of what I've got this time. In fact, they were plugging up in the back of the rake several times, and I have to raise it up and kind of get that cleaned out to be able to keep going. And then I also, where I really had my windrow width, where I thought that was where I really wanted it at, that was definitely too narrow. It'd plug up like every time you even tried to go with it. So I had to widen it out a little bit, but I didn't want to get the windrows too wide so that they were too wide for my baler. So all this has kind of been in a learning process, but every time that I use this, I know it's going to get better and better, and I'll be able to make better times. Real quick, there's two downfalls really that I can think of that I would love to see improved on this rake. And number one, their fittings for their quick connects leak like a sieve, and I don't know exactly why. They're as tight as what you could possibly get them. They've even got a little copper seal in here to try to keep it from leaking, but it doesn't. It squirts out of there like crazy right in that joint. As soon as I get time, I'm going to take these apart. Maybe they've got the wrong fittings on there and the threads don't match up very good or something in order to get a good seal on it. But they put a copper washer in there thinking that, I guess, you know, that would kind of help seal it up, but it definitely doesn't, and both of them leak. They squirt out of there. So I'm not crazy that buying it brand new that it has that issue, but I don't think it's a big issue. I think it's just a matter of, you know, taking some time, maybe changing a fitting, because like I say, it might just be the wrong one. I had one do that one time before. You know, it was like a MPT thread versus like a British thread or something, so they just weren't a perfect matchup and it would cause it to leak all the time. If you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit that thumbs up button, subscribe to the channel, and follow along with us for all the projects we got going. We're getting ready to hook the baler up, and I'm going to start baling some hay. I don't know how much we'll get finished this evening before the dew starts to set, but I'm thinking that I can probably get it all baled. I'll try to get you some footage of that, but it'll be on the next video. So thanks for coming along with us today, and we'll see you on the next one.